If you have a credit score, you need to know about this right now.
But it's now April, a new month, new rules.
In this video, I'm going to break down two major changes that Experian just made for anyone that has a credit score.
To the credit bureau, Experian. That means these loans will now show up on your credit report.
And I'm also going to talk about one additional change, but this will only affect you if you live in this particular state.
Experian is wiping $5 million in debt for families.
Let's go ahead and start off with the first change. All Affirm monthly payments will now be reported to the Experian credit report.
Years, buy now, pay later options have made it easier to purchase things that you might want or need right now, even if you don't have the cash on hand, without facing the penalties and interest rates on credit cards. But it's now April, a new month, new rules. As of April 1st, Affirm, one of the nation's biggest buy now, pay later lenders, is reporting all of its short-term interest-free installment loans to the credit bureau, Experian. That means these loans will now show up on your credit report, much like mortgages and car loans do. Before now, Affirm only reported its long-term interest-bearing loans. Experian says adding these short-term accounts to reports won't immediately have an impact on credit scores, since traditional scoring models have not yet been updated to include this type of debt, but they soon might. A recent joint study from FICO found 85% of buy now, pay later users saw score changes of fewer than 10 points by adding the accounts to the credit report under a simulated model. According to Bankrate's 2024 Buy Now, Pay Later survey, nearly 2 in 5 people use these services, and it's particularly popular among young people. So far, Experian is the only credit reporting company to add this type of loan to credit ratings, but others could soon follow suit. TransUnion, for example, is already collecting data from 2 Buy Now, Pay Later providers, though it has not specified which 2 or when that started.
Now, for those who don't know, Affirm is a buy now, pay later app, and this is just one of the many buy now, pay here later apps or services that are out here today. Many banks have started to add their own buy now, pay later services just to be in more competition with them. But you can see right here, it says Affirm plans to report all pay overtime loan products issued from April 1st and beyond, including the pay in 4. Now, some of you all may not know what Affirm is. Let me show you. So Affirm allows you to buy something and you're able to pay it back within 4 installments. Now, they also recently just came out with additional plans as well, too, that allow you to buy as low as $50 all the way up to $5,000. And then you could break that down into monthly payments as well, as low as 3 payments and as high as up to 60 months. Real quick, be sure to download our free ebook today. All you got to do is scan this QR code right here or click the link in the description below. Now back to the video. And here's the full breakdown. So let's say, for example, you do a number of 4 payments, and then they will be expecting you to make those payments every 2 weeks, versus if you do the monthly installments, they're going to be looking for you to make a payment every single month. Now, with either of those, depending on how much you're using, a down payment may be required. If you do it within 4, then it's going to be interest free. However, if you do monthly installments, then it could be anywhere between 0% up to 36% APR. But keep in mind, a lot of people ask, is there a credit impact to apply? There's no credit impact to apply. However, if you decide to pay with installments through Affirm, your payment plan and repayment activity may be reported to credit bureaus if your loan is accepted. Now, here's another example of what you may pay depending on if you go with a specific payment strategy, okay? So for example, let's say that your purchase is $500. And let's say, for example, if you wanted to do that in pay in 4, this is their most popular plan. That means you will pay $125 and you'll do that every 2 weeks. And then, of course, until you're done, it is going to equal $500. Now, if you decide to do that in monthly installments, for example, 6 monthly payments, let's say your interest rate is at 15% and the APR, of course, is going to be $22. Essentially, that's 15% of that amount. And your monthly payment is going to be $87.02. You make that within 6 months, you would have ended up paying $522.10. Then, of course, the same is true if you go with 12 monthly payments. 15% is going to put you at $41.55. You would have paid $45.13 per month, and that total cost would have been $541. Now, you can do this all the way up to, let's say, $5,000, and this shows you the breakdown for that as well, too. In short, as long as you do it within 4 payments, it's going to be interest free. And if you choose to do the monthly installments, then you're most definitely going to have some monthly interest. So now that those monthly payments are being reported to the credit bureaus, you most definitely want to make sure that those payments are made on time. It's also best to consider putting those payments on auto pay. I also wanted to add that many of the buy now, pay later apps, many of them are going to start reporting to the credit bureaus, if not adding more additional bureaus along the way, like TransUnion and Equifax. So we'll be sure to keep you guys posted as that happens as well. The second major change that Experian is making is the fact that they are coming out with a brand new credit score. Now, this new credit score is going to be called the cash flow score. In short, it says right here, the cash flow score leverages consumer permission banking transaction data to generate a risk score. And that score is going to be between 300 to 850 that predicts the likelihood of a consumer going 60 days past due in the next 12 months. Experian is also saying that fortunately, 71% of consumers are willing to share their banking transaction information to improve their chances of being approved. And Experian is also saying that most lenders will experience up to a 25% lift in their performance. In short, this is going to give people a better chance at being approved because now they're looking at their credit scores. And in some models, this will actually increase their credit scores. And in some other models, this will keep the score the same, but it's going to let them know that they are a stronger buyer because, as we know, people are more than just their credit scores. Now, I know exactly what you're thinking. Didn't we just talk about this, but with VantageScore? You're absolutely right. Let's go back to that. Now, this is what we just talked about recently, and that is the VantageScore 4 Plus. Now, for those that don't know, VantageScore 4 Plus is a new credit score that's supposed to be rolling out towards the end of 2025, beginning of 2026. This is optional for a lot of banks and financial institutions to kind of play around with and kind of test out. In short, it's the same thing as what Experian just launched, and it gives the banks, it gives the credit unions, it gives the financial institution, when you're applying for an auto loan, a mortgage loan, and sometimes even a credit card or a personal loan, they're able to see your score and they're able to now add that 25% on average lift based on what your bank data is showing. So this is what Vantage says the flow could be like. So in short, the consumer applies for a product. Then they would fill out an application, your normal application, the name, date of birth, address, and so on. The consumer's credit score is too low and then they get declined. Then they'll get the option to link their bank data. Then they'll choose to link which bank account they want to link. Then they're going to be informed on what data that they are sharing and opt in to share the data. And then the consumer is going to provide their bank credentials so they can log in. Then they're going to see the consumer score is now adjusted and now potentially eligible for the product. The consumer is now reassessed based on the new score. But you can easily see the difference. When VantageScore comes out with something, nobody really cares. But when Experian comes out with something, then people start listening. Now let's talk about the additional change that Experian is making, but this is only if you live in this particular state.
Is wiping $5 million in debt for families in Louisiana. On top of that, Experian will wipe out an additional $100,000 in debt for every March tournament win by the LSU women's basketball team. Learn more at Experian.com/relief.
So if you or someone that you know lives in the state of Louisiana, here's what they need to know. Number one, you do not need to have an Experian membership, okay? Number two, everything is going to go through a company called Forgive Co. And Forgive Co. is going to be administering the acquisition and cancellation of qualifying consumer debt for beneficiaries randomly selected from the debt pool. Now, here's a few reasons why they chose Louisiana. Number one is that 50% of African Americans age 18 plus are very worried about getting out of debt. Number two is going to be Louisiana has the highest unbanked rates in the US at only 8.1%. Number three is that 52% of African Americans age 18 plus indicated that they are working to rebuild their credit. But last but not least, about 4 in 1 African American mortgage applicants are denied. So here's what Experian is doing to help. They're going to be relieving $5 million of consumer debt for families living in the state of Louisiana as part of their ongoing commitment to support communities through financial relief and empower individuals to take control of their finances. Then Experian also said that they're going to wipe out an additional $100,000 for every March tournament won by the LSU women's basketball team, up to $500,000. Now, LSU's women's basketball team is actually pretty good. So let's see how much additional money they're going to be adding to this project. So I did do some research on how many tournament wins the LSU women's basketball team was able to get. Now, assuming they're not talking about the SEC tournaments, let's just go ahead and focus on the NCAA tournament. So you have one win in the first round, of course, another win in the second round, a third win in the Sweet 16, and of course, they ended up losing in the Elite Eight. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3 wins. That should be $300,000 in addition to the other $5 million that they're talking about. Now, I told you that in 2025 that there was going to be a lot more credit changes on the way. So we'll keep you all posted as they continue to come in. See you all on the next video.